Okay, good afternoon. My name is Avery Tandy, and I'm the president of No Middle Schools BSU, and I am coming to you on behalf of the Black Student Unions of JCPS. Today, we have an important message for all students that are eligible to vote in the upcoming primary. I am here with Ms. Chantrice Martin of Kentuckians for the Commonwealth to cover some of the frequently asked questions on voting. Thank you for being here, Ms. Martin. Can you please begin by telling us about your organization?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So, Kentuckians for the Commonwealth has been around about 40 years, and our main goal is voter empowerment and engagement. So, we try to teach people about upcoming elections, about their rights, about different opportunities to lobby to their state legislators and representatives, as well as local county representatives. And so, for this upcoming primary, it's been really important for us to engage with people so they understand just how many elections are happening. I actually just got my absentee ballot in the mail, and there are so many elections happening besides just the mayor. And we try to make sure that we communicate the information in a really easy to understand way.
Absolutely. Why is your organization so passionate about getting people to vote, and why should voting be more important to young people in Louisville?
So one thing people don't realize is that a very small population actually votes. So there are a lot of people who are eligible to vote, meaning that they're at least 18 and residing in Kentucky, but a lot of people don't vote until it's the presidential election. So there are a lot of folks left out, and a lot of times young people who haven't registered yet don't realize just how impactful it is. So for many of these elections, young people can sway the vote. Um, y'all may already know this. I'm almost 40, so forgive me because I'm old. I don't know exactly what y'all know, but back in the day, you had to be 21 to vote. But because the government said, hey, if you can fight for our country at 18, then you can vote at 18. And so a lot of people who are 17 and about to be 18 can actually vote in the upcoming election. And it's important because you all are going to be running this country soon. And you don't want people who have been doing it the same way over and over, who have maybe done some things that are racist or sexist or homophobic. You don't want those same people to be making the laws for you as an adult. So we want as many young people to vote as possible so that you all can shape the future. Usually every generation has newer, better ideas. You're more innovative. During the civil rights movement, it was mostly young people who were out there in the streets fighting for civil rights, fighting for justice. So we want younger people to be making these decisions and being put in positions of power.
Absolutely. So to piggyback off of that question, how can voting have an impact on certain communities such as the African American community?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll give one example. The West End is the biggest population of Black people in Louisville, and there are about 61,000 people in the West End. And of that 61,000, over 70% are Black. So that size is bigger than a lot of cities in Kentucky. So we have a lot of voting power, right? We also represent a big part of the growing entrepreneurs, a lot of the people who are getting educated, getting college degrees. And so it's really important because a lot of the people who are lawmakers right now do not look like us, do not come from the same place as us. So as we start to vote, we can build our power. We can build our capacity for creating change so that the laws um, look more like the people who are impacted by those laws. When Governor Bashir got into office, more than 100,000 people got their rights restored to vote. But under the previous governor, that never would have happened. And so when we vote, we have an opportunity to put people in place who care about what we go through in our daily lives. In the West End, again, there are about only about 30% of the people are homeowners. And so a lot of policies are created that ignore renters and that increases eviction, that increases people's rent and things like that. So if we have the power to vote, if we accept that power and move forward with it, then we'll be able to create changes that protect our rights.
Yes. If a student isn't registered to vote, how can they get registered?
Yeah, so it's really easy to get registered to vote. If you go to kentuckyelection.org, it has all the resources you need. There are sample ballots. They'll tell you how to get a ride to the polls, how to register to vote. You can check your registration. Sometimes people move, and so you need to re register your new address. You might change party from Republican to Democrat or from Democrat to Independent. So all those things will let you know what's coming up and if you're eligible to vote. So it's really important. Sometimes you can go to your school counselor, but the easiest way to do it is go to KentuckyElection.org.
And is there anything in particular that is needed to know whenever you're registering to vote?
Yes, of course, you need to have your address. If you want to vote in the primary in Kentucky, and it's not like this in every state, but if you want to vote in the primary in Kentucky, you have to be registered with a specific party. So if you want to register Democrat, then you can vote in the Democratic primary. Same thing for Republicans. But if you are registered independent or any other party that does not have a primary, then you cannot vote in the primary. You can only vote in the general election. It's really important to first make sure you're registered at the correct address because if you have a mail in ballot, that's where it's going to go. And it determines your polling location. So the other thing you want to do is make sure that your polling location is the same each year. Because if they redraw the maps and have redistricting, then you may live in the same house, but the district is different, which means your polling location is different and the people you vote for is different. So where I live, I'm in District 43, but if I were to move like 5 blocks over, I would be in District 42, and it's a whole different ballot. So just make sure you keep up with that. And again, KentuckyElection.org is a great place to find out that information.
Okay, so in the Kentucky primary, when does voting begin and when does it end?
Yes. So the election itself is on May 17th, but you can actually vote early on the 12th, 13th, and 14th. And for some people, if you're either working the polls or you're going to be out of town, you can actually do an absentee ballot and you can request that online. And so for the primary, again, May 17th is the day to vote in person, but if you need to vote absentee, 12th, 13th, and 14th, you can go for early voting. So those are the days that you can do for the primary.
And if a student wants to vote but lacks transportation, how would they be able to vote?
So there are several ways. One thing is that during the general election, TARC has free transportation, but during the primary, Black Lives Matter Louisville and the Louisville Urban League have free transportation as well. If you go to KentuckyElection.org, those free transportation options will pop up. And you'll be able to get a ride from wherever you are in Louisville to your polling location. For some people, it's hard to get on the bus to get all the way to their polling location and back to work or back to wherever they need to go. And so we offer those rides from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on each of the early voting days and the election day. So again, you can go to Urban League's website. You can also go to Black Lives Matter Louisville. We've also partnered with Hood to the Holler and other organizations to make sure we give those free rides.
And my last question that I have for you is how can a student find out where they should vote?
Yes. So again, KentuckyElection.org is a great website to find out exactly where you vote. You will put in your address. You can also go to the county clerk's website or call the county clerk's office. The county clerk will have the most up to date information. But again, KentuckyElection.org is a really simple way to find out where you're voting, what times the polls are open, which is 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And if anything changes with districting, those websites will be updated.
Thank you so much for taking time to speak with me today. It is a pleasure meeting you and learning all this information. On behalf of the BSUs for JCPS, we are thankful for you and your organization's work.
Absolutely. Thank you. I look forward to voting for you one day.
Thank you.